The question is really about how pelvic floor health influences sexual performance, so to say, and especially in midlife. And how can we work with the pelvic floor, or what men can do also to support that, and how it might influence D and PE and how to address it. For me, it's really about in natural ways. Of course, men can take Viagra, but then we're only working on the symptom, and it and maybe you can perform then, but also your whole experience is different then. And I encourage my clients always take another path. So I would like to know what your approach is and how I want to do it as natural as possible. That we don't need any tools or any medication, and
Mm-hmm.
how I work more on the emotional level and the body-mind
Right.
connection and energetically. But I'm really curious about how your approach is and how.
So, Melanie, my background is orthopedic. So I've been practicing for physical therapy for 14 years. And understanding the nuts and bolts of the body is such an important part of how to deal with pelvic floor muscle and pelvic health entirely. So knowing how your back, your hips move, even your jaw and your feet is an important part of how your pelvic floor works. Pelvic
Yeah.
floor muscle is an integral part of our body. It is situated in our core. It is it sits between our sit bones and is anchored in the front of our pubic symphysis and in our tailbone. So just the location itself, you will understand how important other parts of the body work with the pelvic floor muscle. And then you gotta look into how your emotions play with it. And that's when you come in. You gotta look into how are you stressed? Are you tired? Are you holding a lot of emotions on your pelvic floor that you have a hard time releasing it? And when you have a hard time releasing it, it's hard for you to let things go and for you to perform.
I
Pelvic
think
floor
most
muscle,
men have no idea that they are holding tension in their pelvic floor. I
right?
mean, that is my experience that men are not aware how much, also when they are sexual, how much tension there is in their whole body.
Correct. So
Yeah.
knowing the anatomy, knowing where it's located, the pelvic floor muscle is, and knowing how the emotions and behaviors affect on it, you gotta look into the function of the pelvic floor muscles. And there's the three important things that pelvic floor muscles do, and
Mm.
that we have to make sure that pelvic floor muscle is working properly because this is how men survive. Men survive by feeding, pooping, and procreation. So if you get those three intact, you'll survive. Men will survive. Men will be happy, correct?
Yeah.
And look into those three functions of it. So going back on the how in your situation and how will I come in with your male clients,
Yeah.
men's pelvic floor physical therapy is very delicate. It is vulnerable part of treatment in the world of physical therapy because we are talking about private parts of men.
Yeah.
Men don't want to talk about this kind of issues and concerns that they have with their family, with their wife, with their
Mm.
friends, or even with their doctors. They
Mm.
only talk to a healthcare professional when it's too late, when they already have a hard time getting the erection, when they already have unable to perform in their optimal level by themselves or even with their wives. And that's when premature ejaculation, something delayed ejaculation, that umbrellas everything by the erectile dysfunction. So as a physical therapist, I look into how that pelvic floor muscle performs. And that's very private. And men want to talk, men need space to talk about these concerns that they have. And that's when I will come in. That's when I will provide one-on-one full hour, 60 minutes, hands-on physical therapy, and a real life conversation where I don't just provide exercises, I provide hands-on physical therapy on them for them to understand what's the health of their pelvic floor muscles. There's always two things that pelvic floor, there are two things the pelvic floor muscles are situated in. They are either tight or loose. And that I've seen are mostly tight because they hold their stress down there. They always think that they have some deadlines to meet. They have projects to accomplish. They have responsibilities to their wife, to their children, and that's when pelvic floor becomes so tight. They're holding it there. They don't want to go to the bathroom. They want to finish their job. They are holding their bowel because there's no bathroom around and they have to do their chores. On the other hand, there's the pelvic floor muscles that are deep. And that's when the LGBTQ community comes in. I currently have 25 of my patients are part of LGBT and they have a hard time controlling their pelvic floor. They have a hard time letting things go of the stress and have an receptive anal penetration intercourse with their partners. There's one that is loose. They're weak.
Why is
because
that? Why would
yeah,
you say? Why is it related to? I would rather say they have a healthy pelvic floor when they have anal
anal pain.
intercourse. So why
Yeah.
do you think, especially for gay couples, it's so? Why does it weaken the pelvic floor? Would you say?
So in my experience, being receptive or bottom, that's when they just receive receptive anal intercourse. They get penetrated all the time or most of the time. So we say twice or three times a week. And we should look into what is the function of that pelvic floor muscle. And the rectum, your anus, your external anal sphincter that is controlled, that you can voluntarily control, those are muscles. The main purpose of this for that is for defecation and not really for anal sex. And men are not aware of how to make their pelvic floor healthy. First, I have a client who were traumatized. He was abused because of that receptive anal intercourse that he did not approve. And it's been several years that he has having a hard time having sex, reaching ejaculation and orgasm because of that trauma. And I think he's one of the clients that you should be seeing because there is an emotional aspect that needs to be addressed. A second client that I've seen is he's loose. He has been a bottom for a long time and he doesn't know how to control that pelvic floor. And then he gets some bowel accident. We call it bowel incontinence.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's really new for me. I didn't know that. That's really.
Yeah. And the pelvic floor muscles need to be strengthened, need to relearn how to control and coordinate with the rectum and the abdomen for it to make sure that it gets closed and you don't get accidents.
Yeah.
And that's when a male pelvic floor physical therapy will come in to help you to understand how to strengthen that pelvic floor muscle and other parts of your body so that you can enjoy having sex again with your partner without the worries of getting accidents.
Very interesting.
Yeah. And you have mentioned about premature ejaculation. Premature ejaculation happens when less than 3 minutes of ejaculation. I've read that a normal guy can have a normal and well accepted norm for having sex is between 3 minutes and 25 minutes. And
Yeah, 25 minutes is good, but most men finish up at 5 minutes, I would say.
in that situation, I would say that man is healthy. However, that patient is not happy.
No, I don't think, yes, you can have a quickie and it goes, you can come earlier, but I think to have a really loving, connected intercourse and for the
Correct.
woman to warm up, you
Correct.
need more time than 5 minutes.
Correct. Men already has this stigma that they have to perform very well for their wife, for their
Mm,
partners,
mm,
because we need to satisfy our partner. And if we cannot meet that demand of other person's demand, it's very embarrassing for that man. And
yeah,
the more it comes in, the more it happens so often to them, their performance society gets higher, and the erection, ejaculation, sexual life will get lower.
yep.
A physical therapy will come in to help them coordinate their pelvic floor muscles with their nervous system, with their posture, with their breathing, and how the muscles around it perform. However, having sex, it's not just a physical activity. It's a
The
right,
skill, totally.
and it needs to be trained over and over again when
Yeah.
you find yourself lacking.
Yeah. And that's the whole dilemma, I think, what we have is that we don't realize that it is a skill that we have to train. It's like playing piano, no? You can't play piano virtuous if you play one time. And if you want to become a good lover, you have to practice and you have to know your
Right,
instrument. You have to know how to play your instrument, you
I
know.
agree.
Yeah.
However, but it's just one part of it. Your physical performance is part of your skill. There's an emotion that is linked on it. How's
Yeah.
your motivation on that day when you're having sex with your wife? And if
Yeah.
they are having troubles, that's when you come in.
Yeah,
That's when
or
I
your
refer
belief
by
system could be your belief system, could be conditioning. There are so
correct.
many things which are playing into it.
Absolutely.
How safe
Um,
you feel in your relationship? How is your communication? Do you talk about what you like and don't like? Are you
yes.
really open with each other? Yeah.
So Melanie, I would like to ask, what is if you could give me a strategy that I will provide to my clients after prostate surgery to improve their sexual intimacy with their partner. If
Well,
they
I think
have a
first
hard
I
time.
have to know also what are really the consequences when they had their prostate removed and what I think there's not a lot of things which are not working anymore. So
Mhm.
for me, it's really then I think what I could say is first you really work on the emotional level and the trauma of the surgery and that your sexual function is not there anymore and that
Mhm.
you have to grieve that. You have to have space to express your suffering about it also. I think in the medical world we don't have the space for that. There is no one there to hold space for that. That you can go through all these emotions and the grief of that it's not working as it was before and all these ideas of what does it mean to be a man and to be performative and to
Right,
I feel it
right,
is a lot about grieving first and then to embrace what is it, how do you feel, what are your desires still, how do you and really connect to your body. That's when I talk about body mind. What are your beliefs about yourself now? That you're not worthy, that you can't do it anymore, that you're not a man anymore. There are so many harming beliefs and judgment, I think, which
right.
come into the game. So,
I
and
like what you
it's
said
more
about
like
yeah.
really to how can you, I think many men in the situation, they cut off from their emotions and from their body. They're so hurt by what happened that their
Mhm.
body is betraying them,
Right.
that they first have to find their relationship with their own body back. They have to
Mhm.
create a new relationship with themselves
Right.
and their penis, their everything. And I
Right.
think there's so much frustration and pain there, and anger. And first you move to all these emotions,
Right.
and then to
I agree.
bring your attention really into feeling what is happening down there. How do I feel there? It's like you're going
Mm-hmm.
into communication with your own penis. It's like you're talking to you let your penis talk to you. What is he feeling?
Right.
What does he need? How do he want to be approached?
Right.
To really develop kindness and love towards your own body again, to
Mm-hmm.
create security in your own body.
Right. I love
And
that. I love what you said about recognizing the body and communicate with your penis on how you perform.
yeah.
Understanding what's the current situation of your penis and your pelvic floor is your first step to provide love to your partner. And when everything comes out from love, your kindness, your care, your intimacy to your partner comes from love. So I love that what you've mentioned that. So what if for those fathers who would like to conceive and they have a performance anxiety, they also have body ache. How do you navigate the conversation with them to improve their self-image and trust that they have to go through this process of healing so that they can start loving themselves and have a good time with their wife?
So for me, really meeting the man where he is and to really look into what is present for him right now. How does he feel in his body? What kind of beliefs does he has about himself? What emotions are coming up? And to really look individually. There is no one fits all method. Or you have to really meet the man where he is, with all his background, with all of his upbringing, his beliefs about himself, about sexuality, and who he is as a man also. And then from there, you can start working with accepting first reality as it is now. And then later, I would bring in the partner too. So then I would also work with the couple and also just with a woman. Usually, I start working individually with a man, and then usually after some time, I invite the woman in, and then they also have couple sessions together because it's all about communication, right? And
I
safety. And
totally.
most people don't feel safe in their relationship. And that's why it often ends up that there is less sex or no, not satisfying
Mm-hmm.
intimacy. So it's about how do I create a space where both of them can feel safe to share really openly about their
Mm-hmm.
desires, what they like, what they don't like, how they can find a really heartfelt, open
Right.
communication with each other. That
Mm-hmm.
where there's no blaming, that there is no, how to say, judgment about the other one, or that there is an intent of you should provide that to me, or that the man thinks, oh, I should provide that. So we go
Mm-hmm.
beyond any intent of performance. It's not about performance, it's about love, it's about
Right.
energy, it's about really connecting on this. It's a spiritual level too.
Right. I
You
totally
can
agree.
find God in lovemaking. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, you can have just hot sex too. I'm not saying that it has to be just tantric spiritual sex, but I think the
Mm-hmm.
base is that you also can meet on a heart level and intimately, where it opens you up so much that you can
Right.
be really connected on a deeper level too, not only on a functional physical level, let's say.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I love what you said about communication.
Yeah.
For in a marriage or any kind of dual relationship
And
or even triple or quadruple relationship in LGBT, it's very triple is common. I've even
yeah,
met a straight couple who are in a triple relationship. So I
yeah,
believe in any kind of relationship, communication is very important.
yes,
Having that trust to each other and ensuring that they are safe onto each other, whatever they're saying, is such an important part of relationship. I think that's very much, and it's the key to
yes,
a long-lasting relationship. I agree on
yeah,
that.
yes,
So
yes, it
this
is.
is really fun. I really appreciate the time, Melanie, on
Yeah, me
sharing
too.
expertise with me. how could I connect you to our viewers? All right, to our listeners. So
Yeah,
tell me
I don't know. Yeah.
where will they see you? Where will they find you?
Well, they can definitely. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. On Instagram. I'm in LinkedIn. People can reach out to me through private message, through email. They
Mhm.
can go on my website. I'm there. They can find me.
Do you offer a
So
video
I also
call? Then?
I work online on
Okay.
Zoom, and I have a practice also where I see people live, so to say, in person. But I also work with people from all over the world who are calling me.
Uh,
So it's really beautiful. And
yeah.
so it's one-on-one. There are different ways to how I work. I offer a deep reset session, which is a one-off session, an
Mhm.
hour and a half, just to check in and to just give you a space to connect to yourself, to slow
Right.
down, to really feel what's actually going on,
Mhm.
and to bring the attention into your body and to breathe and to really recognize what's happening. And
Right.
this can be just a one-off session, or I also offer a coaching container for 4 months where we go
Oh, yeah.
really deep.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Definitely, I will share this information to even my clients here in Northern Virginia.
That would
Yeah.
be so wonderful. I would love
Yeah,
that.
of course. And
And how is it then with you also? How can reach people? Do you also offer online sessions, or do they have to come into your practice?
well, thank you for asking that. They could definitely follow me on Instagram. It's Artizo or my
Yeah,
name Dervin.Fedelizo. I also have Facebook. It's my name Dervin Fedelizo or my company or my business name Artizo. They can also find me on LinkedIn, in Google Maps, but Instagram is where I am most right now. In terms of seeing clients, they could book me. They could give me a call. I answer their phone call right away. I'm the one who answers the phone call, and we will find out together if we are a good for each other. And then you, in my website, there is a quick 2 minute free assessment of pelvic floor health. That is free. They don't need to leave their phone numbers or emails. It's for their answers are just for themselves. And that will help them realize or understand what's the health of their pelvic floor.
wonderful.
This
So
is
I
so fun.
also can refer clients to you.
Of
Yeah.
course. The
And
more
then exactly, and then there is a way they can also work with you online if they are, because you are in Washington, right?
Northern Virginia.
Uh,
All right. This is so fun. Thank you so much, Melanie.
Oh, thank you so much.
Uh,
I'm really
of
happy,
course.
Devin. It was really
Yeah.
great to connect to you, and I hope we talk again in the future.
For sure. This will be a quarterly or even annual.
It would be
Of
lovely to reconnect.
course.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.